Hello, and welcome to today's Digital Dealer webinar. Today's webinar is sponsored by L2T Media and is titled, Is Your SEO Campaign Working Effectively? Today's webinar presenters are Nicole Gignac, Vice President of Sales at L2T Media, and Nikki Paladino, SEO Manager at L2T Media. The webinar will run approximately 1 hour with a question and answer session at the end. Please welcome Nicole Gignac and Nikki Paladino.
Hi, thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you here today. We're going to go over, as Sean mentioned, is your SEO campaign working effectively? First, I wanted to give a quick reminder that be sure to visit us. We will be at Digital Dealer 19, which is October 5th and 6th, and we'd love to see you at our booth. We'll be at booth 813. And Nikki and I are also presenting this presentation at Digital Dealer. We'll be presenting at 3:30 on Monday, so if you'd like to see it there in person and ask questions in person, we'd love to see you there. And you can see the link right there down below, the go.l2tmedia.com/digitaldealer19. You can actually go to that link and go ahead and schedule a meeting or appointment with us at Digital Dealer, and we can be prepared with an audit of your SEO results. So with that being said, I'm going to go into a little bit about who L2T is and the products and solutions that we offer. L2T Media offers a variety of solutions including pay-per-click, display ads, video advertising, SEO, social media, and reputation management. We work with dealers of all sizes from small to large on these solutions. And we help dealers really do what they do best, which is selling more cars. How we drive success is we focus on insight, innovation, service, and ultimately driving a dealer's success. We use insights from our people within L2T Media and work on training them and supporting them in every possible way. We're innovative in the fact that we're constantly investing money into our product so that it could be the best it could possibly be. And our service is second to none. We have some of the best service in the industry. Ultimately, our goal is to help dealers sell more cars and service more cars. So as we talk about SEO today, we'll talk about how it fits within the purchase funnel. Our goal at L2T Media is to focus on how we get consumers during all phases of the funnel. SEO is a crucial piece of this because it really fits kind of right in the middle of the funnel, with the fact that it can help new customers convert, but it also is crucial for the loyalty of your customer base. So at the end of the day, SEO is a critical component of your digital media mix. So first and foremost, we'll go through a quick agenda. And at the end of this, we are also going to be sending a white paper out to everyone that's been in attendance to this webinar. So just so you know, you'll have a full review of this and be able to access the white paper via us. So the agenda looks like this today. So first we'll go through what is SEO and how does it work. Nikki will go through a brief history of SEO. Then we'll go through measuring SEO efforts and just overall success, how you measure success. And then lastly, the most important topic is we'll talk about being a real business while keeping SEO in mind. So at the end of the day, SEO is really simple. It's just all about being a real business. And we'll really share with you some insights into what that really means for you. So first, I'll go into the basics of SEO and how it works. I think most of us know, but just a quick refresher, that SEO is the organic results that show up right below the paid results on the search engine results page. It's the natural or organic search, and how you appear within those results is what we'll go into here today. It's really a mix of both on-site and off-site tactics, and obviously the goal that you want to achieve is to make sure that your site appears for keywords that are very relevant to your business. Again, like I mentioned, the SEO really consists of these on-site tactics and off-site tactics, and you really have to focus on both of these to make sure that your business shows up in these search results. So we'll talk a little bit about best practices on how you do these certain things to make sure that you show up for the relevant keywords. So again, how does SEO work? So first and foremost, the consumer will do a search for a relevant term that we've optimized for. Ideally, your website appears in the top results of the page, and ultimately the customer clicks through your website and lands there for the relevant keyword. So now that we've covered a brief what is SEO for everyone, just in case everyone didn't know, I know that that piece is a bit simple. We'll go a bit into the history of SEO to give context on why we do what we do today. So if we think about old SEO back in the day of the old SEO tactics, what that looked like is there was a lot of keyword stuffing, and people would just kind of cram keywords into their page. And they sometimes actually even hid them using white text on a white background. That really is very old school way of doing SEO. They also submitted their sites to a lot of directories. And so there was about, just you couldn't count how many directories that existed out there, that ultimately the dealership would go and you'd post your site on all of these different directories, hoping to get a bunch of backlinks that pointed back to your site to kind of cheat the system. So it was all about who could basically get the most directories, the most keywords stuffed on their page in their meta titles and everything. And that really was kind of how SEO worked a little bit. And those that cheated the system and did these things actually won some SEO positions in the early days. But obviously those days are gone. So the days of doing this no longer exist. So what we've seen is the algorithms that have affected SEO have really made it so you can't really cheat the system, because ultimately the goal of SEO is to put great content on your site that the consumer will engage with. And so the keyword stuffing and a bunch of directories out there, that doesn't really accomplish the overall goal that Google wants. They want great content on your site that the consumer will read and like and enjoy and it's relevant to them. So that's what we'll share a bit about. But what happened is there were a couple algorithm updates that really made a big impact to these things. So just to give perspective on that, the first one that kind of came out was Panda. And Panda was really all about getting rid of the duplicate content and the spammy content and the low quality content that was on websites. So Panda was the initial one that rocked everyone's world, and it was kind of the first, algorithm updates that I think people are really impacted by. Then after Panda, and there's still updates to Panda periodically, so that still exists. They do, Panda 4.1, and so there's all sorts of complicated algorithm updates, but we won't dive into all of those. So just overall to understand, the concept behind Panda was to get rid of the spammy content that people were putting on their sites. Then Penguin really revolutionized what we just talked about, which was the keyword stuffing and the over-optimization on the page. So what we just chatted about in the prior slide was really sites that had that were penalized by Penguin. Additionally, Penguin really penalized the linking scheme. I'm not sure if everyone remembers, but there were days that you could literally go out there and buy thousands of links, and it would artificially help your website. Penguin got rid of all of that. They said that these unnatural links or the link farming that was going on was just not good, and they really decided that they were going to eliminate that piece of that, update that piece of the algorithm to make sure that those sites didn't benefit from cheating the system. And then the last and most recent update that was a really big, impactful update was Pigeon. And what that did was that made local SEO just that much more important. So the Google Plus page, your Yelp page, all of those citations out there that indicate that you're a real local business, what this update did was it made that more relevant. So gone are the days of a bunch of bad links from bad sites, and here we're in the days of these important citation sites that are really validated and relevant, and those really directing Google as far as where your local business is. So this is really important to automotive dealerships because dealers are local businesses, and so we need to really focus on this component of SEO. So we'll dive into this in our presentation. So next we'll talk a little bit about measuring SEO success. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Nikki to share a little bit more of the analytics behind all of this.
Hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well today. So like Nicole said, I'm going to go into how to measure SEO success. So the goal of your SEO campaign is to drive more traffic to your website and get your business website on search engines. So, and you want your business to show up in listings. So you can really tell if your SEO campaign is working by using Google Analytics. Google Analytics really shows who's visiting your website, when they're visiting the website. Is this website traffic going to turn into customers to your business, and really lets you analyze what's working with your SEO campaign and what's not working. So how to measure SEO success, you're really looking at the organic section of the analytics report and looking at the traffic volume and traffic quality. Traffic volume consists of the sessions, percent of new sessions, and new users. This is the amount of people visiting your site for a given time, and the type of visits that are new visits. People that are finding your site for the first time, or people that are finding your site as existing customers. So you really can see the amount of people visiting your site with the traffic volume, which, like I said, is the sessions, percent of new sessions, and new users. The traffic quality is the bounce rate, pages per session, and average session duration. This is the type of people that you want visiting your site. Looking at, are the visitors that you're getting quality visits? Are they going to turn into consumers? So the bounce rate is looking at a visitor that comes to one page and then leaves. You really want a low bounce rate because that means people are interacting more with your site. A high bounce rate means people are coming to your site and then leaving quickly. Pages per session means the amount of pages that they're looking at during one session. You want people to be interacting with your site, looking at many pages, and really you can tell if they're real customers because they're researching a vehicle, looking at your hours of direction, learning more about your business. And then the average session duration shows how much time people are spending on your site and specific pages on your site. So really the goal of your SEO campaign, and what we're going to go into today, is how to see success. And you really want all these metrics to increase, and you're going to see influxes at different times, either month over month, year over year, depending on the needs of your business. So we're also going to go into the best practices of how to be a real business and keep SEO in mind, and what specific things in analytics you can look at to see if your tactics are helping your website and overall your SEO campaign. So you want to be a real business and keep SEO in mind. Like Nicole mentioned, with the new algorithms, that's the most important thing. You want to be really focusing on your customers first and the search engine second. It's really now about driving relevant, quality traffic to your website rather than trying to manipulate the search engines. So the most important element of your SEO campaign is your website. If you're not driving traffic to a website that people can navigate, can be found on search engines, there's really no point of doing your SEO campaign. It's really, the website is a foundation, and that's what you have to have in order before you even start your SEO campaign. And the screenshot that shows on the presentation is Google Webmaster Tools. Google Webmaster Tools, also known as Search Console, gives you kind of an overview of what your website is looking like, what people are seeing on your website, and how search engines are viewing your website. So really, Google Webmaster Tools allows us to see the overall health of the website. It allows you to see if search engines are seeing any errors on your site, if people are having a hard time loading specific pages, if you have a sitemap that categorizes all your different pages for your search engines and your consumers. So setting up your site on Google Webmaster Tools is imperative, so you can always be checking and always going in to see how search engines are viewing your site and if consumers are able to go on your site. It's really important to remember that you should make your website first and foremost, again, for your users so they can easily navigate and find the information they're looking for. If they have a hard time navigating, can't find information easily and quickly, they're just going to go to another website, another competitor that they can find the information quick. So it's really important to remember that your website is easily navigated for your users and then found by search engines. And you set up different pages and making sure the text on your page is easy to read also by the search engines. So just remember, you have to have a well set up website to start your SEO campaign.
And one thing that I always think is important about Webmaster Tools, and one equation that I use for dealers to simplify, is that it's like hooking your car up to the diagnostic machine, and the diagnostic machine saying, here's what's wrong with your car, here's what you should do. And in the service bay, and that's what dealers do, obviously, for their customers. And for our customers, what we do with your website is we hook it up to Webmaster Tools, and that helps us diagnose what's going on with it on a consistent basis. So we're always looking at it and using this as a tool to how we do SEO.
Great. So the next most important thing of your SEO campaign is your keywords. Your keywords allows you to put specific terms on your website, and this is what you want to be showing up in search engines for. So like Nicole mentioned, the foundation of SEO is a consumer is typing in a search query or keyword into the search engines, and you put the keywords on your site to make sure your website shows up for those specific queries. And there's specific research and tools that you could use out there to make sure you're using the right keywords for your business and attracting the right traffic to your business that's going to be a mix of traffic volume and traffic quality. So the first tool that you're going to see on the screen is Google Trends. Google Trends allows you to focus on a specific make, like BMW, like you see on the screen, service parts, really whatever you want to focus on and drive traffic to your website. So you can search in specific areas and see the top search terms and see the search entrance over time, if it's increased or decreased, and you can also see specific areas of focus. So if you're located in the San Diego area, you can narrow that down and see the areas surrounding San Diego that you should be focusing on and that are getting the most searches, and that's really you want to be focusing on and adding those terms and cities to your website. So Google Trends is one of the first tools that you can use to find keywords.
And keywords, like Nikki said, are just the basis and the crucial point of how you do SEO. You need to determine the right keywords to go after that have traffic associated with them to make sure that your SEO campaign drives the traffic.
The next tool that you can use is AdWords, the Keyword Planner tool. This, again, allows you to type in specific terms, narrow down to different cities and time frames to really see what you should be focusing on. So these examples show the average monthly searches for the particular term for a specific area in the competition. So obviously, you're going to have some competition with everyone to focus on those terms, so it kind of gives you an idea of what you're up against and kind of what you're going to see with these terms. So this is just another way to get more ideas of what you should be focusing on. And again, you could narrow down to brands, specific make, for specific car, service parts, whatever you really want to focus on. The next thing is going and looking at Google Analytics. In the organic section, the keyword part, you can look at what keywords are already bringing traffic to your site. And you want to take a look at this and see, is there any areas of opportunity that we're maybe getting a little bit of traffic but we should improve on, or there's areas that we're not seeing here that we should be showing up for. It really gives you insight to what you're actually getting traffic for and to figure out what you should be focusing on or what you should maybe take off your keyword list, and really allows you to see what areas of opportunities you have and ways that you can improve for your specific website. So like I mentioned, with looking at Google Analytics in the organic traffic report, you can actually see if the keywords you have chosen are bringing quality and the quantity traffic to your site that you want to see. You can look at the specific keywords, like I said, that are bringing traffic, so even areas. So on the screen you see organic traffic increases from Glendale, California. That means from the Glendale, California area, you're seeing organic traffic increases. And then underneath you see Jeep, so that means from Jeep, if you're focusing on Jeep, what organic traffic increases you're seeing. And then the top screenshot shows organic traffic from with Madeira, California in the search results. So keywords that include Madeira, California that are bringing traffic to your website. So this really allows you to see, is my area of focusing, of keywords that I'm focusing on bringing quality and quantity traffic to my website. So like Nicole mentioned, with the old days of SEO, it was all about looking at keyword rankings, and that really showed you if your SEO was being effective and if you were focusing on the right keywords. Now those days are gone, and like I just mentioned, it's all about looking at Google Analytics and seeing if the traffic and keywords that you're focusing on are bringing the right type of traffic. It's not about rankings anymore, and Google changed the algorithm, and they try to be set up the most useful search results for each individual user. So they look at location, individual search history, internet usage while signed in a particular web browser. They'll look at your friends' profiles to see what networks they have included and what they're searching. So if I type for BMW dealer in Chicago and Nicole types in that same search result, we're going to see a little bit of variety based on our individual. Google tries to show the most relevant for each individual user, so everyone's going to see a little bit of variety in their search results. So that's why focusing on keyword where your website is showing for a particular keyword is going to be a hard judge if your campaign is actually working, because if you click on a competitor, that's what's going to show up because Google thinks that's what you want to see. So you really focus your efforts on increasing traffic, drawing new traffic from areas of focus, and improving the quality of your site for your users, and really thinking about the users and if you're getting quality and quantity traffic to your site.
And this is a big change in how SEO is measured, and this was really done too in part by the fact that a lot of these ranking tools that show where you're ranked aren't necessarily as accurate anymore because of all the personalization. So it's really just taking the concept of ranking and knowing that it's not as valid as it used to be, and it's really more about traffic and measuring traffic increases based on your keywords. So are we seeing these progressive traffic increases on the keywords that we've been focused on? And that's mainly what Nikki said. I just want to reiterate it because it is a big change to how SEO is measured, and I think there's always a lot of confusion around keyword rankings. So hopefully this brings a little clarity to it.
So we're going to kind of go through the best practices of SEO that will help you increase traffic to your website and make your website more visible to new consumers, and kind of how these specific tactics will help your business and website. So the first thing is content. Content refers to the actual content on your website, and it should be authentic, interesting, informative, and relevant. You actually want to write your content for your users, and they want to learn something while they go there. And it's kind of the philosophy of if you build it, they will come. So if you build the content and put quality content, you'll have users come to your site, and Google puts the sites that have quality, fresh, constantly updating your site with good content that actually is right for your business and helps your consumers. They reward those sites that do that by placing them higher in search results. So putting quality content on your website is actually going to help you place higher in search results and get more traffic to your website. So it's really important that you add content to your website that's quality and people are actually going to learn something from it. And also, where the SEO part comes in is you add keywords that are specific for your business naturally within the content. You see in the example, we list out some models naturally within the content. Then we link to other pages on the site that will naturally have people be able to search and find things on your website. So if they're learning about specific RAM models, they can easily click and get to the inventory page for RAM models. So it really helps people navigate your site, and then these keywords show Google and different search engines what you should be showing up for, and by placing these keywords, it's thinking about the SEO part. So you write your content for your users and naturally place keywords to think about the search engines and what you should be showing up for. So the next thing is metadata. Metadata refers to the meta title, meta description, and meta keywords. The meta title is what you see on top of every page of a website. It should describe what the page is about and have the search engines, again, and the users learn about your website. So the most important thing with the metadata is you want to focus on the meta title and meta description. Keywords aren't really used as a ranking factor, or visitors don't really see them, so they're not as important anymore. It's really about the meta title and meta description. And the meta title should be descriptive, concise, and easy to read, and in the following format. That really is easy for users and search engines to both take a look at it. And the meta description is really a little brief, very brief overview of what people are going to find in that page. You should really write these for the users and use these as a way to incentivize people to visit this page and what they're going to learn there. This will really help them decide if this is what they're looking for and help you drive quality traffic to your website. So every single page of your website should have a meta title and meta description. And Google has laid out some best practices, and by following these best practices, again, they're going to reward people by showing up in search engines. So a meta title should be around 65 characters in length and in the spelling format that you see on the screen. And meta description should be around 150 to 160 characters and written in full sentences, and again, incentivize the user to click through.
And just to reiterate, what Nikki mentioned is the meta keyword, so to speak. So it's a it's the behind-the-scene keywords. Used to be another old-school tactic that people used to try and manipulate. So they'd stuff a bunch of keywords into the meta keyword spot, which is in the back of your website. The consumer doesn't see that. Google has openly said that those keywords that you can put in there aren't utilized as a ranking factor any longer. So that's what Nikki was saying when she said those keywords aren't relevant anymore. It's the meta keywords that are really in the back end of the site.
So metadata can really help your website, like I said, incentivize the user to click through, tell them what they're going to find on that page, and this encourages searchers to click on your site based on relevancy to the search query. Crafting a readable, compelling description using important keywords can really draw a high click-through rate and get people to your website. People want to find what they want very quickly, and if you put what they're going to find on your site, you have more of a chance of people getting the right type of traffic to your business. So you can really see if the type of metadata and content that you're putting on your website is drawing the right kind of traffic by looking at, again, Google Analytics Organic Traffic Landing Pages report. You can look at each specific landing page that you're optimizing with this custom meta title, meta description, and content, and see if that traffic is the right traffic that you want to see. Looking at the example on the screen, you can see the new inventory page is driving more traffic, more new users, and more people are spending more time on this page. So that means if people are finding what they want, they're finding this page in search results, so that means it's showing up for the right type of queries, and people are spending time searching on it, so they're able to interact with the type of content you're putting on the site, and they're finding what they're looking for. Again, the service page, you see increases in both sessions, percent of new sessions, and new users. So more people are finding the page, and it's quality traffic that they're getting because people are spending time interacting, and they're not just going to the service page and then leaving. They're spending time interacting on more pages of the site, which is what you want. So really analyzing each individual page that you're optimizing will really help you see, okay, is the type of metadata and content the right type of content? Does it have the right keywords in it? Are people interacting? That will really help you tell if it's effective. And also, again, overall organic traffic, if you see increases in both the quality and quantity, you're right on track. So really looking at the individual landing pages and overall organic traffic will help you decide if the metadata and content is helping you. So again, you want to be focusing on, like I said, the right type of keywords and cities for your business. So you can also see if the type of cities that you're focusing on is bringing the right type of traffic. So the first screenshot shows organic traffic from the Salina, Ohio area. So that means that you're getting more people in the Salina, Ohio area that are searching on your website. This next screenshot shows people that have the Salina, Ohio keyword within the organic traffic. So the top one is from the area, and the second one is from the keywords including Salina, Ohio. So this is a great indicator that Salina, Ohio is a great area for this particular business, and it's bringing the right type of traffic and people are finding it. So continue to focus on this area to even get more traffic from the area. And once you start seeing really good increases, you don't want to be focusing on a bunch of cities. You want to start small and localized, and then maybe start including other areas based on your individual keyword research.
And quick reminder, I just want to remind everyone that we definitely would love to take any questions here at the end of the presentation that you guys have. So please be sure to be writing these down as you think of them as we go through the presentation. I know I didn't remind you all of that in the beginning, but we'd love to take on any questions that you guys might have with regards to any of these topics that we haven't covered, because we can definitely go into more depth on any of these things. So that being said, as Nikki mentioned, she talked a lot about the right content. So I'm going to switch over and talk a little bit more about the off-site linking and having the right type of links. So it's really important to make sure that we're getting links from really good, high-quality, trusted sites. So it's pretty simple, but as I mentioned earlier, back in the old days, you can just get links from any old site out there, and really it was all about quantity, not quality. Now it's all about quality, not quantity. So we really focus on Google+. It's a huge one. It's a really big one, in fact. And posting, our blog posts maybe on Google+, so we can get a link back to our website. So we're putting relevant content out there from our blog post, but we're pointing a link back to your site from Google+. And we've seen really great stuff and results from really focusing on the Google+ social channel. We also definitely focus on YouTube videos and making sure that those YouTube videos have a link back to your site. YouTube is a really high authority site, so definitely incorporating your videos on YouTube and making sure that those are pointing back to your website is really important. Twitter is an important one, Reddit, StumbleUpon, Facebook, all of these are well-respected social sites in some manner, and that really is what it's all about. It's all about those really respected sites and getting links back from those sites. So how backlinks can benefit your site is really by posting your website on these other sites. It's going to cause other people to find your site more often, and hopefully they'll turn into a customer. So the concept behind not just the linking value and that it gives your website, there's also a value to the customer potentially finding one of these links that exists out there and getting to your website. So there's two values there. There's the value in that Google sees, they show your search engines that your site's active, legitimate and worthy, but there's also the benefit that you might actually get some good traffic from these sites too. And Facebook's another one that was on the previous slide that I forgot to mention. Facebook is a huge one because it's such a respected social media site. So the more linking that you're doing within Facebook that's pointing back to your website, again, is just showing that you're a legitimate business. And the concept behind being a real business is really what your linking strategy should be based upon. It should be based upon just doing natural things that make sense that a real business would do. So that's posting on social media, posting on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, YouTube, all of those types of sites. So how you can tell if backlinks are helping your website, one kind of interesting way that we've seen be pretty noteworthy is that you'll actually see some traffic from these sites from a referral standpoint. So you can definitely measure that, and that's a great way to see if your content is actually producing clicks back to your website. So that's a great way to measure. So you can see in this example that the different sites, you can look at the sessions, you can look at the new sessions, you can look at the bounce rate, the pages per session. So in this particular screen, it shows the validity of that Google+ traffic, obviously, and the validity of the how low that bounce rate, how great the pages per session are. So that's really what we look at is where should we be posting, because where is the consumer coming back to our site from, and they're really engaging with our site. So that's a great way to base your SEO strategy on is what sites are providing that referral traffic back to my site. Because again, it's all about the quality of the user and the person that comes to your site, and really focusing on how I can get that best quality user to my website. So another component, as I mentioned earlier about the pigeon update, is that your citations absolutely must be consistent and claimed. I cannot tell you how often it still happens that this isn't the case. And it's such a basis of SEO. It's such an important focus of SEO. So for instance, yp.com, Google+, your business name, your address, your phone number, your URL, all should be exactly consistent across all these sites. We suggest using local numbers. We suggest making sure that your business name is the same way. So if you're Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, it should be Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram across all of these sites. Or if you're Toyota Scion, it should be Toyota Scion across all these sites. So, and of course, compliancy guidelines will also dictate that a bit. But you definitely want to make sure that there's consistent naming convention, and that means exact. So hopefully that gives a little clarity in how citations should be claimed. And really how these local citations help your business is they increase the credibility of your dealership in Google's eyes and the other search engines' eyes. And they also, of course, help your customers easily find your information about your dealership, your hours of operation, your phone number. They're really, all of these citations that exist out there are the new yellow pages. So back in the day, you wouldn't have left your yellow pages phone number inaccurate, or you wouldn't have left your name incorrect in yellow pages. So that's the same thing as today. You want to make sure that these citations are absolutely perfect out there, because this is how people are finding your business now. So, and the off benefit of, aside from consumers just finding your business, is of course it helps your SEO. because what the search engines do is they'll crawl all of these citation sites, and if they're all consistent, that shows a great match, and that validates the business and makes sure that, you know, really Google says then, big thumbs up, you guys did it right, all of this is consistent, they're definitely a real business. And that's really the ultimate goal of getting these claimed and consistent. So next, we'll talk a little bit about how reviews actually will help your business as well from an organic standpoint. So reviews definitely stand out in the search results, and it's so important to make sure that you're focused on reviews anymore, because that is now how the customer is getting the word of mouth to come to your dealership. Back in the day, it happened via actual word of mouth, and now it's digital word of mouth. So if you have great reviews online, it's absolutely just a real business tactic that you need to be focused on. They obviously can help conversions. If a consumer had a great experience on your website and they went back and forth with your BDC and they're ready to come into the dealership, and then they go ahead and Google you to find your address and you have horrible reviews, guess what? You may never see that customer, of course, and you're not going to know why. So they can definitely help the conversion factor of getting the consumer into your dealership to actually convert to a sale. And then lastly, reviews are definitely one of the top signals that are searched. So meaning that Google hasn't implicitly said this, but there's definitely a positive correlation to positive reviews and number of reviews and organic ranking. It hasn't been outwardly said. It's a very kind of gray area, but there definitely is some sort of a correlation there to reviews. And Nikki, do you want to share any more on the reviews?
Yeah, so like I say, is you can be doing all the great SEO in the world, you have a great website, but reviews can really impact if people decide to be a consumer or not. So it's super important to be paying attention to the reviews. And you know, if you were to get a negative review, if you respond and show that you care about your consumers, you want to make the relationship right, that'll really help see as a trusted business, a valued business. So it's really important to be paying attention to the type of reviews that you're getting, respond to positive and both negative, because everything that we're talking about today will really help your business, but reviews can sometimes make or break if people are going to turn into consumers or not.
Yeah, so all the great SEO and digital marketing efforts in the world can be ultimately ruined by not paying attention to your online reviews. So next we'll just briefly go over the Google My Business checklist, and the concept here is just making sure that you have a verified Google business page. You want to merge your pages to eliminate any duplicate content out there. No point to have duplicate pages. We definitely want to merge those up. You'll get more traffic on the one page if you can do that. We want to also make sure that you're active on the Google My Business page. You should absolutely post to this Google Plus page. It's crawled and it's indexed almost immediately, as opposed to Facebook and Twitter posts, which definitely aren't as regularly crawled. Obviously, because Google owns Google My Business, Google Plus pages, there seems to be some sort of a correlation there. So it's really easy to be active on that page. Again, just post what you're posting on your website. Just submit a link and share the blog post that you just posted. Or if you put a new page up about a new model that's coming out, post that and talk about the new model that's coming out.
Specials is a really good way. You can get these out by posting, like Nicole said, they get indexed right away, and if you have a special that's only going on for a month, it's a great way to drive traffic to that and get people in your door.
Absolutely. So the Google My Business is a really important factor of SEO. And so I'll let Nikki summarize some of the things about being a real business but keeping SEO in mind.
So everything we talked to you today about is a new philosophy, and really the focus of your SEO campaign should be being a real business. Think about your consumers first, and think about your SEO and search engines second. So I'm just going to recap what I talked through today, and so you have a clear understanding of everything that you should be focusing on for your SEO campaign. So you want to do keyword research to find out what your potential customers are searching, and make sure you include these keywords in all your SEO efforts, such as website content, metadata, and offsite links. Really finding the right keywords that are going to drive the right traffic to your website. So again, having a well-built website is really going to help you and really going to be the foundation. You really need to pay attention to the type of site you have, if it's easily crawled by both your users and easily found by search engines. So really thinking about having a well-built website that can be easily navigated through. And the next most important thing is having content and metadata first and foremost for your users, but adhere to the SEO best practices set forth by the search engines. They're going to reward the businesses that are following these SEO best practices within their content and metadata. You want to aim for a diverse backlink portfolio that includes quality and trusted links that are going to bring quality visitors to your site, finding out where customers are finding your business and continue to build links on these sites. You want to be listed on the top local citation sites, including Google My Business, which is the most important one, with accurate and consistent information about your dealership. Make sure all the information is correct and the same across all your listings. And then respond to reviews on your local citation sites.
So in summary, what you should be seeing if you're following all of these best practices and how you measure it is you should be seeing an overall organic increase in year-over-year traffic to your website. So we look at year-over-year. It's the most accurate depiction to see kind of what's going on. Month-over-month in the automotive industry is somewhat flawed because the months vary so significantly, particularly in the summer months. Also, you want to see that there's increases in organic traffic coming from the locations that you're focusing on with keywords. So it's all about local SEO and focusing on those local locations. And so we want to see that we're getting increased traffic from those locations. Next, we want to make sure that we're seeing increases in organic traffic from searches including keywords or locations that you're focusing on. So for instance, if you're focusing on Jeep, if you're focusing on Chicago, if you're focusing on whatever keywords you're focusing on, look to see if you're seeing increases in traffic with those keywords, with any combination of those keywords that are showing in analytics, as Nikki showed earlier. So we really want to see if we're seeing progressive increases in what we're focusing on. If not, we need to alter our strategy or do something different. And then lastly, of course, we want to see increases in referral traffic from these backlinks. So if we have a really good backlink strategy that's focused on the right social sites and the right sites that are going to deliver those quality visitors, we want to see increases in the referral traffic. And again, the concept here is just being a real business, as Nikki said, but keeping SEO in mind. So if we're doing all the right things digitally online with putting great content on our site, focusing on the right keywords that are relevant, we should see increases in traffic, and that's the ultimate goal of SEO, is increasing your organic traffic. So in summary, again, we will have a white paper that summarizes all of this information that will be sent out to all of the attendees. And so we're really excited that you guys can have this information for yourself, of course, but we do want to open it up to Q&A. Quick reminder, again, we're going to be at Digital Dealer 19, October 5th and 6th. We'll be in booth 813. We'll be presenting on this again as your SEO campaign working effectively at 3:30 on Monday. And you can go to go.l2tmedia.com/digitaldealer19. If you'd like to schedule an appointment with us, we'd love to see you there. And again, now we'll open it up to Q&A.
Okay, that was some great information. We are now in the question and answer portion of the webinar. Please feel free to submit your questions to the question box. All right, looks like we got some questions here. What's a good bounce rate?
For car dealerships, you want to see anywhere between 20 and 30%. But you also want to keep in mind, if you see a bounce rate that's a little bit higher than 30%, see if you have a blog on your site, because that'll also cause you to have a little bit of a higher, more around the 35% range. So 20% to 30% is what's normal for car dealerships, what we see.
All right, we have another question. Is creating blog pages for local or actual web pages better for creating content?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, of course. Is creating blog pages for local or actual web pages better for creating content?
So it's better to have either an off-site or on-site blog, and it's separate from your website. So you'll have your website, and then you have a separate domain that's either attached to your website or separate from your website that has specific blog posts on it, because the blog posts are going to have a little bit of different content that's on your website. Blog posts are going to have information about your business, specific events that are going on, specific car makes, the top car news, so people could learn about what's going on in the industry for that particular make. And then the content for your website is going to be really focused on, you know, service, parts, specific cars that are in your inventory. So a little bit different content. So a blog should be separate from your actual website.
Yeah, and a blog is more newsworthy content, so it's thinking about like relevant newsworthy stuff that might expire, whereas on your website you're really focused on content that's, you know, sticking around for a while. So blogs are really for the purpose of more immediate news, whereas website content you're focused on obviously your core business and what you're doing on an annual basis is a good way to think of the two.
All right, another question. In regards to backlinks, are any of those metrics shared in regards to sessions and page session? Average duration, does it show any correlation of these prior metrics to showing of traffic into showroom via accountability somehow?
So yeah, you can really tie accountability via conversions on the website, of course. So that's one thing that we do is setting up goals on the website. So we know that ultimately, though, you can also set up phone number tracking as well, using, you know, new technology that allows you to see what phone calls came via organic traffic and what phone calls came via, you know, paid traffic and whatnot. So there's phone call technology that exists that allows you to really segment what your organic traffic's delivering. As far as diving down into the referral traffic, though, the best way that you'd be able to see that would be really through conversion data on the website. So did they submit a lead? Did they submit a chat after they came from Facebook? But there is a lot of also cross-attribution modeling as well that's really kind of cool in the fact that the consumer is different these days and that they're not just clicking on your site one time and converting to a lead, that there might be multiple actions that happen. So maybe they came as a referral from Facebook one session, and then they came back via paid on the other session. And then paid gets the attribution for the lead submission, but ultimately the Facebook was an assist. So there is ways to look at that as well that help you dive deeper into the overall benefit that SEO is adding to your site. So it's kind of, you know, there's a direct way to see it, and there's also the indirect way to see it.
All right, another question. We have tons of dealer rater reviews and a good number on Yelp, but not a lot on Google. We are working on getting more Google reviews, but are the others helping us in search or not?
Yes, so any types of reviews and any types of top local citations that you're getting reviews from will help you, will help when people are learning about your business and deciding if they should be a consumer or not. And if you have positive reviews, Google will see that you are a trusted business, you're getting people to interact with your business, and that will show that you are actually a real business and you should be showing up in search results. So yes, Google, again, we said is the most important, but other local citation reviews will definitely help your SEO and your business as well.
Yeah, so point being that, you know, absolutely focus on Google more to get those reviews on Google. It's a huge one. It's a really important one. But the overall reviews on all of the different sites absolutely contribute to helping your website show that you're a real business. And, of course, at the end of the day, showing the consumer that you're doing a good job and you're responding to those reviews, you know, you're getting those reviews, so you're a legit business that the consumer can feel comfortable about going in.
All right, another question. We have multiple rooftops. Should we have a Google Plus page for each rooftop or only for our corporate umbrella brand?
So it's best practice to have a Google My Business page for every single business. So that way you can get individual traffic for that individual business, and that business will show up in search results. I've seen in doing, you know, different research that it really helps to show up for branded traffic for a individual business if you have one page. Also, Google really looks at having a real business and looking at having the actual rooftop, and it'll just cause confusion and seeing the different businesses in the search results, and it'll be a little bit harder for consumers to find information about the different businesses. Google really helps, the Google Plus page really helps consumers find the information they need quickly. So I really recommend having individual pages for each rooftop.
Also, another thing is typically the group site doesn't have an address, so that's also confusing for Google because it has to be a local business with a local address. So if that group site, you know, and that's what's kind of tricky sometimes is It depends on your unique situation, so we can definitely follow up on that because there are some caveats to that, but generally what Nikki said is exactly correct in the fact that you want to make sure you have one business URL to one address to one Google Plus page. So it's kind of a match of your business URL that has an address that has a Google Plus page.
All right, this kind of goes with the same question. So are you implying reviews on other review sites aside from Google reviews do not assist SEO on Google? And should reviews with Google be posted on Google Places, Google Reviews, or elsewhere?
So we're actually saying that having reviews on any review sites will help your SEO and help drive traffic to your website. Google is the most important one, but the other review sites will help you drive traffic and will help you get noticed within the search results and for consumers.
Great. Another question. Is it better to have your blog on a site like WordPress or actually have it located and incorporated on your website?
This is a great question.
Yeah, this is a question we actually get a lot, and there's benefits to both. They both are going to drive traffic and give an interaction to your business and about your business, so there's definitely benefits to both. It's really what the individual needs for your business are. I say there's a little bit more weight in having the blog on your site because you're driving all your traffic to one place and driving traffic to your website so then they can interact with other pages easily. But there are definitely benefits to having both and will help your SEO just the same, but I say there's maybe a little bit of weight with having the blog on site.
And the other benefit to having, so there's pros and cons. Typically, if you do have it on your site, that means you're committed to that website provider. So that's typically what dealers are a little concerned about, is being committed to that website provider for that amount of time, because ultimately, if you do leave the website provider, you have to do a mass export of all of those posts and try and repost them all, which typically isn't done. So you typically do lose a lot of content. So that's the only disadvantage. But at the end of the day, WordPress is also something that may start charging down the road or something like that. So you may not be committed to WordPress forever. So there's pros and cons to it. I definitely agree with Nikki in that fact that if it's on your site, there's a little bit more of a benefit.
All right, another question. Where on Google elevates SEO the best? Google Places, Google Reviews, or Google?
Well, they all kind of feed off of each other, and there's different purposes for each of those things that will help your SEO overall strategy. So, Google Places and Google Plus really gives an indicator that you are a real business at a real location, allows both search engines and users to find information about your business quickly. Within the search results, a user and search engines will show up individual pages about your site for different keywords. So you get a little bit more interaction, a little bit more deeper diver into multiple pages on your site. And then what was the other one that you had mentioned? Google Reviews? Yeah. Google Reviews is just, again, is more information about your business and kind of will help people decide if they should visit your business and kind of what they're looking for they'll find in your business. So they all kind of feed off of each other and kind of will help your overall SEO strategy.
Yeah, I think they're all important.
Yes.
I don't know that you could weight one over the other, to be quite frank. I think it'd be great if we had a formula for that, but there's definitely not a formula for that.
Yeah, and you should be paying attention to all three. They all equally, will help your business. But yeah, I think it's an overall strategy.
All right, another question. What do you think about lead phone? Specific phone number to measure lead calls from website or landing page?
So did you say ePhone?
Lead phone, L-E-A-D. Phone.
Okay, so I don't think we've heard of that one in particular, but it sounds like it's basically probably assigning some sort of a unique variable it would be transposing the phone number out is what I would assume, and doing that so that you can see what if your organic traffic resulted in a phone call on your site. That's what I'm assuming it is, and if that's the case, that's similar to what we were chatting about earlier about phone call tracking to attribute value to your organic traffic. And I see some value there for sure, because what the concept is moving forward is starting to see how many phone calls am I getting from all of these different things that I'm doing. And it sounds like that might be what this particular tool is referring to, but definitely reach out to us offline on that one. And you know what, we didn't give our email addresses, but they're up right now because I want to make sure we can answer that particular question. We can always dive into it, but it sounds to me like it's a dynamic number insertion type of thing. And here are our email addresses. You can see Nikki and I's email address on the screen. So please feel free to email us directly on that question.
All right. Another question. In reference to inventory pages specifically, does it matter if the content is above or below the inventory listings?
So this is actually a question we've been getting a lot recently. So really, there again, positive, negatives to both, but it really depends for us and for how the website is built. Each website that we work with is built a little bit differently, and there's different widgets and places to add content that makes sense. So it really depends on where the website is built, and you don't want to put a ton of content on the top of the page that will just push the inventory down. So if it makes sense to have a little blurb of content before and then maybe a little bit after, that's great. You just don't want to have it be a ton of content in one place so people can't get to the inventory. But I would say there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's really just dependent on how the website is built and where you're able to add specific content.
All right. Now, we're going to do a few more questions. Do Google reviews posted to your website or areas count as duplicate content?
No, with the duplicate content algorithm that came out, it really referred to having content that's the exact same on multiple pages of your website in multiple places, because that means you weren't really thinking about your consumers. You were just placing content that you thought the search engines want to see. So reviews aren't really taken account in the algorithm. It's really the specific content on your website.
All right. This will be the last question. Should phone numbers on websites avoid 888 or 800 numbers versus tracking numbers with an area code phone number?
Google My Business is really the one that pays attention to having a local phone number. They've made different comments and made different rules about having local phone numbers on the Google My Business page. We do see tracking numbers on your website, and that's really specific on the business, but really for your local citations, it should be a local number. But I do know there are specific local citations like cars.com that do use specific tracking numbers, but really for Google My Business, it should be local number, and other local citations, and then website, you can, it's kind of dependent on your needs of your business.
Yeah, I think that one's a gray one because it depends if the call tracking outweighs the value of the SEO benefit that might be implicit in having a local number there. So there is somewhat of an implicit SEO benefit to having a local number. It's tough to gauge because I think every automotive dealership out there wants to have the tracking number on their website. So we haven't had a lot of dealerships that have been okay with us saying, let's just stick to the local number and do a before and after test to see organic traffic impact. But ideally, I think you would have, local numbers across both and they would match for an ideal scenario, of course, because again, talking about the citations match, you want your website information that shows your address, your phone number, and your business name to match exactly really what would be in the citations in an ideal world. But unfortunately, it seems like most dealers outweigh the tracking benefit of trying to better understand how many phone calls came to their website over the having all the phone numbers match across citation sites and on their website.
Great. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, and thank you to L2T Media, Nicole, and Nikki for some great content. To view this webinar on demand and future Digital Dealer webinars, please visit digitaldealer.com/webinars. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.